guys, I'm Ponzi Shade here, and these are the certain questions every day I get. How much GB of RAM need to be on my desktop slash laptop? And answer every time it differs a lot. It differs a lot every time. The answer differs due to the usage of the laptop slash desktop. So before you getting to know about the RAM you need, there's one thing you need to know. That's must and should. That thing you need to know is this 32-bit architecture, desktop architecture. That's the 32-bit OS and the 64-bit OS. So there are two types of OS: 32-bit and the 64-bit. Starting with 32-bit. 32-bit is when you have lower amount of RAM. For example, you have 2 gigs of RAM and the PC uses only 1 gig of RAM. So it settings, and if you have 8 gigs of RAM and having 32 gigs of you have 8 gigs of RAM and having 32-bit of architecture operating system, it's completely waste because it uses only half of the memory. It uses only 4 gigs of RAM. When you install 8 gigs on a 32-bit operating system, it uses only 4 gigs of RAM. So 32-bit is when you have the lower amount of RAM. So 64-bit, starting with the 64-bit, when you have a high amount of RAM, more than 4 gigs of RAM. So for example, you have 4 gigs of RAM and the PC takes full advantage of that RAM. It uses completely the 4 gigs of RAM, not in the sense the other 32-bit OS just uses the 2 gigs of RAM when you install 4 gigs of RAM on the 32. But 64-bit is, it uses everything, the RAM you install, whether it's going to be 4 gigs of RAM, it's going to utilize fully. So these are the circumstances of 64 and 32. So starting with the RAM. So many gamers starting with the hardcore gaming on your PC, Windows platforms, Windows 7, it might be Windows 8, Windows 7, any other Windows platforms. So nowadays many of you gamers are playing on Windows 7. So Windows 7 for the 64-bit, make sure you install the 64-bit of Windows 7, and installing 64-bit you need to have some minimum 8 gigs of RAM to 16 gigs of RAM is enough for the hardcore gamers. Because what happens is, if you want to slightly jump over to 32 or 64, it would be total waste, because we don't create any apps, operating system, we don't do much programming, we don't do all those stuffs what other guys do. So 64 and 32, it's total waste for the gamers, for thinking that 16 gig is less and going to 32, it's total waste. And for the normal use in the sense like just for your taking printouts, just for surfing the net, just for a little bit of social networking, 4 to 8 gigs of RAM would be sufficient, would be great, would be magnificent for your PC slash laptop. It would be a gigantic machine when you install 4 to 8 gigs of RAM with a 64-bit OS in it. So then comes the video editors, video renderings, and the photo editors. These guys need a little bit of RAM from opening those apps pretty quickly. So 16, 8 or 16 is more than enough, because you don't use you don't create any apps as you wanted for 64 or 32. Maximum for the video editors, video rendering, and photo editors doing all those heavy stuffs, launching those apps, gigantic apps at a single second. So they need RAM. It might be 32 GB for them. And personally, I use a Forza Vengeance RAM. It's gigantic RAM for my custom build PC. It's 8 gigs of RAM. It has 8 gigs of RAM. It's pretty fast for me for editing videos, for surfing the net, for printouts. It's pretty fast. And the other side, my Mac Mini, it has got 8 gigs of RAM. It's Mac OS X, so it takes full advantage of the RAM. So you might have known about the RAM and the 2 bits of operating system. Without your operating system, the RAM doesn't support. So you mean 32 and the 64, you need to have both supporting RAMs and supporting operating systems. So installing the RAM, the third part of these RAMs are free, you know. And coming to my PC, my custom built PC main board has 8 slots of RAM, and for you it might be, yes, for the maximum is 8, and for you it might be even 8 or 4. So the main board, guys, what I've done is for the approximate RAM, like installing things, for you have 4 gigs, 4 slots for the RAM, and 2 will be colored with the black and 2 will be colored with any yellow or reddish thing, this colors. So make sure you read the manual of your main board thing and set those things of the RAM exactly on your main board. And starting with the RAM, so currently in this generation there are 2 RAMs. The first is DDR2. There's no bias on DDR2, and the latest and greatest is DDR3, where everyone are buying the same DDR3 for their PC, for the desktop or their laptop. It's DDR3, so they are buying that for DDR3. And if you're looking for a little bit lower price, Transcend is good. And then the Corsair Vengeance, these guys, Corsair Vengeance has gigantic gaming performance RAM, which can support your desktop high-handedly, can open your apps. It could be very great if you have a Corsair Vengeance RAM. So you might have known how to choose a RAM, whether it's gonna be 16 gig or whether it's gonna be 32. 32 is mainly for the video editors, more gigantic app openers, very huge app openers like them. So basically you don't need, for normal users like us, you don't need 32 gig. It's just waste of your money. So going with the 16 GB of RAM would be more than sufficient for your gigantic gaming performance with a great display connected to it. And 8 gigs, as I normally use, it's gigantic. And there's 64 gigs of RAM too, where I have 8 slots. I can even install the 64 gigs of RAM. But it's total waste because I don't even have such a gigantic apps to open to do those things. So you might have known there are 2 types of OS. You might have known which is your OS, and if you don't know which is your operating system bit, go to your my computer properties, and over there you can see lots of stuffs over there. You can just see 64-bit operating system or the 32-bit operating system. You can check over there and check on your RAM too. If you have more RAM and 32-bit, it's waste. So you might have known how to choose the RAM, how to go on with the RAM, how to get a proper operating system with your RAM. And many people just going with the Windows XP for saving their RAM. It's damn bad idea. You can't do that because everyone needs the very latest and greatest. It can be Windows 7 and Windows 8. So installing 64-bit architecture on it, minimum 16 gigs for your gaming, or for your normal use 8 gigs or 4 gigs, it would be running massive. So these are the symptoms what you might have known about the RAM and the operating system bits. And that's it about the RAM. And thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe the channel for more tech related issues, like more explanation issues, more things what I'm going to do in this channel. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Peace.